Hi everyone, and welcome to the Fellowship Style Stage. My name is Jacqui Macintosh, and I am your host today. My creative that I have on stage today is Angelo, and I've written down your surname in phonics. So I need to break it down.
Go on, have a go.
Vallillo. Have I got that right?
Nearly close. Vallillo.
Vallillo. Okay.
You're not the
Vallillo.
first person, don't worry. And I'm sure you won't be the last.
Angelo is going to be on stage with me today, and he's going to demonstrate some amazing, an amazing haircut, I should say, using a blade. Before we go into that, I know we've got a VT that's just going to show us some objectives of that. So roll VT. Wow, Angelo, that's amazing. Based on what we've just seen, can you just give me a brief overview of Angelo, who you are, what you do?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thanks for having me. Thank you to the Fellowship. Thanks for the invite. It's been a while. It's good to be back on the stage. Yes, I'm an international creative artist for Sebastian Professional. I also am a UK ambassador for the brand as well, which allows me to create content, education, and editorial and creative as well. So we kind of trying to blur the lines between each category.
Okay.
So it's more of a stronger message of understanding of what we're about, which our main focal point is salon relevance, and that's something that's really passionate about myself and Richard at the moment. That's what we really want to push.
Fantastic.
That's what I'm working on at the moment.
In terms of commercial content, when you say do that, as someone, the Angelo, how do you create that? What do you do to make that happen?
What, with the creative content? Yeah. I think it's, for me, I've done awards, I've done competitions, I've done all that, and it's kind of completed that. And now what I look at is understanding what we do most and where we spend most of our time. So when we're delivering creative, it's very much about bringing that into the salon and breaking it down on a commercial aspect. We still take inspiration from Fashion Week, we take it from magazines, etc. But for me, it's mainly focused on what's in front of you. What is our canvas? And that's why salon is so relevant. Everyone has their own personality. Everyone's a lot more expressive now. So there's a lot more to work with, I think. People are a lot more confident within themselves. They're a lot more fluid. So as a hairdresser, as a stylist, I think it's really important that we understand that and we adapt your canvas's personality, and we just enhance that beauty, whether it's fringes or cheekbones or this style. I can go into it a lot. It's very depthful kind of topic for me.
I think both of us could go into it in a lot of depth here.
So
because I do think it's an art that's been lost, and I think sometimes when we talk about creative, people seem to eliminate the salon floor, as I think you can't be creative unless you've been on that salon floor.
And you couldn't have said it better myself.
Brings it back. Exactly,
and I think it's just so important that we do that, and we have to make it exciting. On our courses, we kind of drill that in. It's kind of like how we explain what we're doing, which is really important. Why and how, I guess.
Brilliant. Now, for me, I'm well excited, and I know the audience are going to be excited because you don't really get to see a lot of short haircuts in the 2020s. So, take me through what you're going to be doing today.
So we're going to be doing a variation of the pixie. We kind of call it the soft pixie because we want elements of softness, femininity, using a longer length in certain areas where we might have gone shorter. So exactly through the perimeters, we're going to keep that a little bit softer. Internally, we'll go a little bit shorter. Normally, you go short on the top, short fringe. But again, we're exaggerating the longer length through the front and through the sides to create that little bit more versatile, I guess. I think it's really important. We give versatility to our clients, especially on short haircuts.
Okay.
They don't have the the luxury of a hot tool getting in there.
Yeah.
So what the great thing about the blade is we're creating internal movement, which allows them to, with a product, just really manipulate their hair into different sort of variations and looks and styles.
So before we get into the blade,
Go for it.
what I want you to just talk me through is your sectioning pattern. Because personally, I'm a hairdresser that believes that sectioning patterns are important. I know that some people think that no, they're not. Me personally, I think they are what your roadmap to success, I would say.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it is. It's like structure, I guess. It's kind of understanding your fundamentals. And I guess the sectioning pattern is the fundamental, whether you're doing something salon, creative, or editorial, right? So we all start with a structure. So depending on who you're working with, everyone has different head shapes, everyone has different features. We want to emphasize that, and that's what determines where we start and where we finish. So on my beautiful model this morning, what I want to do is really open up the cheekbone area, the jawline. So we're working on them elements as our points of reference.
And I love that you've done that, because I think sometimes when we're cutting, no one thinks about that.
Yeah, I think we have to. We have to bring it back. You know what I mean? But then we have to, you have to understand, and then we disrupt. So I think that's what we're all at a position where we want to get to. So again, it's very, very simple. So nothing too complicated. I don't like to overcomplicate things. I think simple is always best. So taking our point of reference, so we've just gone to the corner of the eyebrow, just elevated to kind of right on the curvature, just underneath the curvature of the head. And then we're going to come back. I'll have to step aside so this camera can see us. So step aside, and then we're going to start a slight little bit of a drop just above the ear. Okay, so then we start to come down slightly to this nice little curved section just above the occipital bone, and then we mirror that through to the other side. I've pre-done this side. As you can see, we really want this nice, soft, diffuse line and texture. I'm going to do the other side for you. As you can see, we go from short to long, so we're kind of slimming the hair out. In other words, we're doing an undercutting technique. I think we have to choose our words correctly sometimes. Yes, I think undercutting scares people because they think you're just going to shave the lot off. That's not what we want to do. So we want to be cute with our words. Like slimming, automatically you're building up a rapport with your client. They're just going to think you're slimming their hair out, which is great. So you're removing weight. We're only doing that through the first sections. So as you can see, if I hold this up, it goes from short to long. So we want to keep this really tight. But I've done this on an angle as well. So graduated forward to encourage the hair to move backwards. Then through the back, we work on each individual section, square. So this gives us multi-direction. So this gives us the underneath will move. So I like the hair to kind of tuck behind the ear really soft. You see all these little bits of beautiful texture we've created using the blade. This sits quite tight and a little bit rounded through the back. So we create more of a shape.
And is that just down to the fact of her hair texture, head shape, that you've done your angles the way that you're doing them, or would you use that?
I would use that. For me personally, on this haircut and what we've done in the videos in our education program, it was just to get people to understand what you can do to the hair. When the blade hits the hair, it creates, I'm looking for a reaction.
Right.
So I'm looking for how the hair reacts to it. And then when we had the Sebastian product, then it's going to react again. So these are all different elements about Sebastian education that we kind of promote and we kind of champion. Great question, guys. Whoever's doing this, who's watching and wants to do it, we're all experienced people. It's down to you to take a little bit of responsibility and understand what's going to work and what's not going to work.
No, fantastic.
Okay.
So I'm going to put you on the hot spot now because I know that you're a blade specialist.
Yes.
Okay, so tell me, how can Jacqui become a blade specialist?
I think that the most important thing is like anything, is practice.
Okay.
I think it's understanding what the blade does. I think you have to, I immersed myself in it for 4 years, being on the international team. It's something that we that's all we use. And at the beginning,
and I'm watching with keen eyes.
Yeah, no, but I used to think I was this, amazing hairdresser. And then I got brought down to it very, very quickly when I was with the international team. But it's about practice. It's about anything, dedicating your time to your craft. But the key, I think the main thing is if I was going to start again, or the advice I give, just incorporating certain aspects. Richard did a beautiful fringe earlier. What I would do and what I promote to my team is do everything with the scissors. We're not saying just use the blade, but maybe just put the bangs in with a fringe, because you're going to get a different effect. And your client's going to introduce him to that a little bit softer, because a lot of clients are scared of the blade, right? because they've had bad experiences.
right.
That's the only reason why, is because they've had bad experiences.
I'm just going to take you back to something that you mentioned because I think it's really important. You said that when you kind of moved into the international team, you had to kind of put your experience to one side and really learn again. And I think it's important, especially for the younger people coming into the industry, to realise that even experienced people, when you're moving up, there are certain things that you have to go back in and learn to be able to do the role that you're doing. And I think people don't think that. They think we just walk in and it's perfect.
Chance. No. My journey was very long. It took me 4 years to get the interview. I messed up, and then I had to wait another 4 years to get the opportunity again. But within that 4 years, again, what I said, it's about going back and practicing and understanding your craft. So yeah.
I'm going to shut up because I know that you need to balance on. But again, cutting short hair with a blade is not often something that we see. People tend to be a little bit more confident with longer hair, but I'm really amazed, well, not amazed, but I think giving you gratitude that you're doing it with a blade on short hair and achieving the texture that you're getting through there, because I think a lot of people would be scared to do that. So.
Yeah, they would, and that's, I think, that's again comes down to understanding what the blade can actually do and working through our techniques. I mean, as a brand, we probably have about 12 to 15 techniques that we use with the blade. So I'm just using a vertical skim at the minute. As you can see, we're taking a vertical section. And when we're using the blade, everything's visual. Our guidelines are very visual. So as we'll always use our points of references, like I spoke about earlier. Our fingers play a massive part in our guideline. So when we use our fingers, Richard did the same. We're always dropping down, so we'll get the hair, if it's this long, we'll drop down and we'll visually see where we want it to drop.
So you're
visualizing the drop. So and then we're working on each individual section. We will take a little bit of a guideline from our previous. So as you can see, I'll just take this new section, I'll take the previous, I'll sit it on top, I can see where it is, and we're just imagine a line running straight through.
Amazing.
And then we'll just take that hair away.
Terminology called skim. What is that?
Skimming. So we're just skimming. That's what we call it. So it's that motion.
That slow back and forth.
Okay, the slow back and forth. The blade must stay on the hair as well, because if you bring the hair, if you're going to skim a section, I'll use the back of the blade. If I'm going to come in and skim, lift off, you're going to take the hair right away. Right. We want that texture. We want that diffused line. Okay. So that's what the skimming gives us. So the blade sits on. I'll use the tip. We come through, and we just come through, probably working about half an inch skim, working towards our line. Obviously, we're elevating up because we want to maintain length at the bottom to create this real nice, soft, filtered finish. And you can see the line is very diffused.
Yeah. So you haven't really got to go back in and point cut or do anything like that.
That's the beauty about the blade. It's we're doing two things at once. So people always ask me the question, is it time consuming? It's not actually, no. We can get through these haircuts in, 45 minutes if you're doing it in the salon as well. So that sometimes put people off, but no, it's not at all.
And can I just ask, what kind of preparation have you got on the hair prior to that? Because obviously you're razoring, so...
Yeah, so we always want the hair to be moist, and I'm going to go in and I prepped with Potion 9, which is one of our hero products. It's a wearable treatment. Styling product as well, so it's going to condition the hair. And then I've gone in with the no breaker, which is going to really soft our cuticle and protect that. Okay. As we're using the blade, and when you cut the hair, you are aggravating the cuticle, so we want to kind of condition as we're working on that.
And is that something that's taught when you're doing the blade? Because I think some people will just use the blade on the hair without prepping the hair, which can cause damage.
Exactly. I think it's just, again, it's understanding. I think especially when you're working on dry hair with a blade, you really need that glass-like finish. So we will smooth the hair out, and then we'll go in and use a hot tool to create movement and texture. So we're just working this all the way through the back, using the guideline. Blade sits on. I'm just going to use the tip, and we're just skimming through them sections, elevating the underneath to maintain the length. And then what's interesting is when we get to spin you around a little bit more, darling. So you can see that tension in the left hand. So now this is where we change. This is where we want to create that movement that I was talking about earlier. We want to stop, manipulating the hair to go where we want it to go. So I'm going to come from the front. take a front section. Now we're going to come in on a diagonal to kind of push the hair backwards. But we're going to go short to long now. So instead of skimming straight through the section, I'm going to come probably really close. Blade will go to the head, and we'll just skim, and we'll work along, going short to long, creating that slimming effect, otherwise known as an undercut. So we'll come here, we'll move our fingers, we'll pivot away, and we're maintaining all the length throughout that side section. And we did that on both sides. So now you can see this real nice, filtered finish to the hair. You know, we're encouraging this movement. We wanted to be able to tuck it behind our ear. You know, so when the disconnection sits on top, all we're doing is connecting that to the bottom. It's kind of like sculpting, which is a nice way, which is a nice term. And it's a nice way to work, a lot more free.
And I would assume, because, you know, to me, from a hairstylist perspective, we can cut a hair on the day, but the tail of the pudding is when that client go home and shampoo. It's got to fall back into place.
Exactly. And that's the beauty about the blade. We always think we're kind of taking these classic... no one's going to reinvent the wheel when it comes to haircutting, right? It's been done. Cecilia's done a great job. It's for us to go in there and take the inspiration like we do and modernize it. And that's what we do as a brand. That's what we look at. We're taking inspiration from heritage from, you know, years and years ago. But we have to put our own stamp on it. We have our own identity. And this is what we do. We're taking them iconic looks and we're modernizing them.
Absolutely.
And I think, you know, your clients, I think it's so important that you give them that option. You know, it's all about options. We all like options, don't we?
Personalization.
Yeah, personalization as well.
It's personalization.
But it is,
everybody wants to be an individual. They don't want to blend in. So, yeah.
Of course. Okay, so kind of that's kind of where we're looking. We can see how soft this is. We will personalize after, but you know, you've got short to long here. Encourage the movement to come backwards. Through the backwards, just a square layer using the blade, using the skimming technique. This sits quite nice and flat now. Then we're going to probably put some, well, we're not probably, we are going to put a nice round shape in. So I like to kind of combine shapes as well. This is what we, you know, as an artist, you have to kind of, you know, go with it and create something different. Make it interesting. I think for you as well. I think that's important. You've got to think about the hairdresser. We want to do stuff that, you know, gets you thinking and excites you.
You know, it's amazing that you say that because I think it's like, you know, a cutting, we talk about the techniques that are used within colouring, and yes, it's amazing. But for me, cutting has so many techniques and it can be so creative, even doing the most simplest changes like what you've just demonstrated just now. And it's really putting that emphasis and that power back into cutting hair, because I think we've kind of lost that a little bit. So it's nice to see you really talking about the shaping and the fact that you're now going to go into the crown area and give us that movement on top. I'm excited. Come on, Angelo, let me see the movement.
No, I agree. It's true. It's you know, hair cutting at the minute is, I think a lot of people haven't colour, aren't they?
Yeah.
So even in the salon, I do
long hair's the
thing, but like we did, Rich demonstrated this morning, there's still interest in that. And then obviously when we're doing shorter haircuts, that's what we want to achieve that as well. So now I'm just going to go in. So what we use sometimes, we use the thinning shears as well, because I just want to encourage and add just through the back to create a nice velvet sort of finish. Yeah. So we go in there using a scissor over comb sort of technique with the thinning shears, and we're just literally skimming just the ends. Just if there's any, you know, overhang of product.
Question: why would you do it with thinning scissors rather than normal scissors?
Because I want to encourage the texture we've created. Right. If I go in there with a thinning shear, we're going to put a solid line in there.
Someone's going to ask.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. There's no silly questions, and I've learned that along the way. So we're just literally, that's it. We're just looking, analysing. If there's any overhang, there's any bits that you've kind of missed out, we'll just take them away with the thinning shears. And then you can also come in, how we come in, and again, we're just going in there and just removing them weighty areas through there. But encouraging the movement.
I'm getting well comfortable now. I've even put the question.
Yeah, that's good. No, feel free. Yeah.
So when I spoke to you at the back, and I know you didn't want me to mention this, I'm going to mention the word bespoke.
Bespoke, yeah.
You're on the hot seat now.
Yeah, go on.
Come on. What's bespoke blade?
My bespoke blade. So what? I mean, I feel very fortunate. They've bespoked a blade for me, which is a lot shorter. It's a lot shorter to handle because I like to be, when you're using a blade, it's kind of an extension of your hand. So I like to really get in there you know, move the blade around. And this comes with experience and practice. You kind of understand what works.
You've got to be a big deal for a manufacturer to make your own blade for you.
No, I'm just a deal. I'm like,
you're being a little bit humble
yeah,
here.
No. So that's kind of how I work. But everyone's different, you know.
That's amazing.
So yeah, but I'll show you that after we've got the screen. So that's nice. So we just filtered that a little bit more to encourage the shape. I think as well what you spoke about was really important. It's not how much you take off, it's where you cut off. It's so like, for now, for what I've done today, we've not took so much off, but how we've took it off and where is going to be the difference between, you know, you being you and someone else being themselves, I guess. But it's you having the knowledge to do that, which is important. I'm going to dry this underneath off. Actually, no, I would do the top and I'll dry it all together if that's all right.
While you're running through the top, can you just recap with me about your education program that you do in terms, because I know Richard spoke about long hair, but I would assume that you're doing a program across all textures and
so exactly that. I think what we're doing today, what we're showcasing is a blade by Sebastian, which is it's an introductory to our fundamentals, which we spoke about earlier, which is really important. So we have an ABC, we have an equivalent of that called creative immersion. So we have 4 haircuts. We have the bob, the skimmed bob, graduated bob, the shag, and then we have a full pixie. So so we're taking you through our heritage, we're taking you through what the blade can do, and you know, breaking it down, as we keep saying this, were the fundamentals of what we do as a brand, which is really important. So this is kind of the introduction, these 2 beautiful haircuts that you can use in the salon. And then we go on to the fundamentals, again, which are salon friendly. But there is elements of creativity, and it's kind of understanding what to do and how to do it. Yeah. To dial it up a little bit, as we like to say.
The what, the why, and the where, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Because I think it's so important. I mean, we have a strong emphasis on, you know, bringing this back to the salon. I think that's kind of our biggest message at the moment.
Okay.
But, you know, we're doing, but then again, we're doing the alternative hair show. So that's going to be something different, right?
Amazing. So what are you spraying right now?
So again, I'm going back in there with a no breaker. I just want to keep that consistency of moisture and condition on the hair. So when I come to blade. So now for the top section, this is the fun part I always like to call the detailing, the personalization. I think all hairdressers love to do that. It's kind of putting your actual stamp on the haircut and really bringing out your models, your clients' features, what we spoke about. So I'm going to go to a flat skimming technique now, which is a skimming. So what we're going to do, is that right? See that one? Perfect. So we're going to subdivide everything in natural 4.
All right.
Okay? So I'm just going to come in and subdivide this section. So now I'm going to use a skimming technique, which is going to give me this real nice...
And once you've done this, you're going to dry it off and then...
Then we're going to dry it, then we'll just personalize. Okay. So again, point of reference. I'm looking where I want this to sit, where I want it to finish and end. So my point of entrance is important. So I'm going to skim from just the occipital bone, probably from an inch further down. The blade sits on the hair. It does not come off. And we just skim through, and we're kind of filtering the hair. So this just really melts into there, becomes really seamless. And as you can see, if I bring this section up, we should still maintain our length is still there, which is important. We're not creating layers. Everything is done internally.
Right.
Okay? So we want that little bit of disconnection in there, you know? We want it to be a little bit more wearable, a little bit looser.
And in terms of your colour that you've got on your model, was that prescriptive to the hairstyle that you're cutting in?
The what, sorry?
The colour.
Oh, the colour, yes, exactly. I think we have a video of the colour.
Yeah, we're just going to link you through to it.
Oh, yeah, amazing, yeah. So I can't take credit for the colour. Oh, sorry, yeah. I can't take credit for the colour. So I think Rich worked on it yesterday, which I'm grateful for.
Fantastic.
I think I'm best to stay away from colour.
Well, we're going to carry on while we see this colour.
Perfect, thank you.
Fantastic. So Angelo, I'm loving the way that that collar is popping
Coming
through,
through, right?
as it's looking amazing. Even where you've done your razoring through the back and created that softness through there, it's amazing. And the shine, that primer is just giving that colour such a nice high shine.
Yeah. So then what we're going to do is just straighten this on top section. Just kiss it with the straighteners. It's coming on.
Are you on?
We're on, yeah.
You're on. And again with the straighteners, because you've put that movement in there, it's really
we
just
don't wanna,
another styling tool.
we don't want to
isn't it? It's
overkill it
not
with the straighteners,
overkilling it, yeah.
Spin yourself around to me. And then
In terms of products, do you tend to finish with a lot of products? Like some hairstylists love to finish with a lot of products, some don't. They prep with products and then just finish with fingers. How are you with that?
it all depends, but on this haircut, because we've put a lot of texture in there already with the blade, that's kind of adds as a little bit of a product. So we're just enhancing again.
Okay.
So I'll always prep more and then finish softer, if that makes sense.
It's kind of the trend at the minute, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really?
So
You want product, but we don't want to see it.
exactly.
It's like I want an inch, but just take off half.
So right, guys. So we have this now. This perfect canvas. I don't know if you can see the back. It's beautiful. It's really soft, really filtered. Kind of got this little nice bit of graduation that's internally been put in there. And then with our blade, we're just going to go in here, and I'm just literally going to pinch and scrim, and just really open up certain areas. So we come in. I'm going to use the heel. I'm just going to really.
So this is really your detailing and
The
really
detailing, yeah.
crafting to the face shape.
Yeah, coming out. So I'm going to use the bridge of the nose again. I think it's a real nice length. It's a lot sexier, I think, if something starts there, then we can finish a little bit longer towards the ends. This is really nice. So I'm going to come in just a little bit weighty here. So we're going to use a pen cutting technique. We're just going to open up these spaces, and that will just allow the hair to move and sit from the ear. And then just this last side. So we're just going to incorporate this nice little bit of pen cutting. Just want this to move. You can see, and this color really comes out. Just sit this in behind the ear. It's the beauty about the blade. Longer lengths, shorter lengths, it all works. Okay, so let's take this off. There we go.
There we go. Amazing.
There's one I made earlier. Right, okay, and then we're just going to finish off.
I'll take that.
Oh, yeah, is that all right?
Yep.
Just a little bit of microfiber.
Oh, what does that do? Microfiber.
This just gives us, it's kind of a moisturizing finishing spray, so it wants to encourage a little bit more movement in the hair. So it's kind of wet. We have a clay, which is a little bit drier. But this is just a little bit wetter, so we can just come in here and just show this off. So if you come back, you can see this multi-directional movement in here. Nice and filtered through the back.
That cut's really working it. I can see that movement. I can see everything
gorgeous,
that you've
right?
put in there. It looks amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely amazing. Angelo, thank you so much. That's absolutely beautiful. And thank you guys for being with us today on the Style Stage. And thank you again.
Thank you again. Thank you,
very much.
Fellowship. Thank you, Sebastian and Weller. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, beautiful model.